So we have heard time and time again that US allies do not pay their fair share when it comes to collective defense, that US allies don't contribute enough because some don't meet the expectation that NATO members should spend 2% of their GDP on defense. While this 2% target serves as a symbol of political commitment, it doesn't tell the full story of what each country actually brings to the table. In 2023, 23 of NATO's 32 members met or exceeded the 2% goal, which is a big improvement from just 3 countries a decade ago. But looking at this number alone can oversimplify the reality. Defense spending is important, but it doesn't always equate to military effectiveness. For example, a country spending 2.1% of its GDP might use most of that budget for pensions and outdated equipment, while another country spending 1.9% could invest in cutting-edge technology, a well-trained military, and modern industries like advanced drone manufacturing. The latter is far more valuable in today's defense scenarios. Now, to get a clearer picture, researchers at RAND Corporation conducted an in-depth analysis for the Office of the Secretary of Defense. They looked beyond budgets to assess actual capabilities and contributions. This included counting military assets like tanks and tactical aircraft, as well as logistics capabilities. Also, contributions to peacekeeping missions and the economic sacrifices made to enforce sanctions against our adversaries. The findings reveal a shift in the global defense burden. At the end of the Cold War, the U.S. accounted for 53% of the collective defense burden. By 2023, that number had dropped to 39%. While the U.S. still plays a major role, in fact the biggest role, this decrease reflects a growing contribution from other nations. NATO allies account for 38% of the burden combined, which nearly matches the U.S. Asian countries contribute 13%, and our allies in the Middle East and South America make up the remaining 10%. Now, these numbers show that the weight of global security is now more evenly distributed than it once was. To dig deeper, RAND researchers developed a ratio comparing each country's share of the defense burden to its share of total allied GDP. A ratio above 1 means the country is pulling its weight. In 2023, 19 countries in the U.S. alliance sphere of influence met this threshold. The United States, with a ratio of 1.07, was slightly behind NATO's average of 1.10. France and the United Kingdom were only slightly behind the United States, and several Eastern European nations, especially those near Russia, actually exceeded the United States' ratio of 1.07, and they were the top performers. Some surprising contributors emerged as well. Spain, for example, doesn't meet the 2% of GDP spent on defense target, but they have been a key player in enforcing sanctions against Russia, which have cost the country over $10 billion in exports since 2018. Now, these sanctions are a crucial tool for deterring aggressive actors like Russia and Iran, and contributions and sacrifices due to sanctions need to be accounted for. If non-military contributions like these are excluded, the U.S. share of the burden jumps from 39% to 47%, and NATO's share drops from 38% to 29%. Now, this highlights how non-military actions, such as sanctions, play a significant role in global security, often at a steep cost to the economies in countries like Spain and other European allies. Now, these findings challenge the usefulness of the 2% benchmark as a standalone measure. NATO itself acknowledges that the target is more about political resolve than about actual capabilities. Achieving it doesn't necessarily mean a country is making meaningful contributions to collective defense. For instance, Canada falls short of the 2% mark, but it is NATO's second largest drone producer after the United States. In an era where drones have proven to be a critical asset, Canada's industrial capability positions it to make significant contributions despite its lower spending. The broader takeaway is clear here. Global security is a shared responsibility that can't be boiled down to a single percentage. Today's challenges demand a deeper understanding of each ally's strengths and sacrifices, a more nuanced approach, one that emphasizes capabilities, non-military contributions such as sanctions, and targeted collaboration in things where we have bases in countries that put us in a strategic advantage, all allow the alliance to better address modern threats. The world won't suddenly become safer just because every ally hits an arbitrary 2% spending target. What matters is not how much each country spends, but how much each country truly contributes.